Building pathways to equity for Black youth. What are the expected adult well-being outcomes for Black youth compared to white youth? And more importantly, can we change those outcomes? Can we identify the success factors that truly predict adult success and strengthen them while youth are still young? Because as adults, parents, educators, community members, we share a sacred responsibility to prepare our youth for successful, healthy, and meaningful lives. Education is often seen as the key, but education alone can't overcome the deep-rooted barriers that shape opportunity and well-being long before a child ever enters school. Let's look at the reality of where we stand today. Financial well-being. Financial stability is one of the clearest indicators of adult well-being, and here, the racial gap is striking. About 72% of white families own their home, compared to 45% of Black families. The median household wealth for white families is $188,000, while for Black families it's only $24,000. The median household income for Black families is $46,000, compared to $75,000 for white families. Over a lifetime, that adds up to a staggering $550,000 earnings gap. The poverty rate for Black adults stands at 14.9%, more than double that of non-Hispanic white adults at 7%. And although Black Americans make up just 13% of the population, they represent 45% of public housing residents. Justice system disparities. Justice system involvement is another powerful predictor of long-term life outcomes. And again, the racial disparities are overwhelming. Black men are in prison at 5.5 times the rate of white men. Black women, 1.6 times the rate of white women. A Black man born in 1981 faced a 1 in 3 chance of lifetime imprisonment. For those born in 2001, it's improved, but still 1 in 5. For white men, that risk is 1 in 23. Even in schools, inequity starts early. In 2020-21, Black boys were twice as likely to be suspended or expelled as white boys. And among preschoolers, Black children made up 17% of enrollment, but 31% of all suspensions. Trauma and adverse experiences. Behind these statistics are human stories, often shaped by trauma. A 2021 study found that 17.6% of Black adolescents were in a high global adversity group, meaning they'd experienced 4 or more adverse childhood experiences, compared to 6.5% of white adolescents. The CDC's National Intimate Partner in Sexual Violence Study found 22% of Black women had experienced rape in their lifetime, compared to 18.8% of white women, and other research suggests underreporting makes this gap even wider. Overall, Black women experience intimate partner violence 35% more often than white women. Education and opportunity. Educational achievement remains one of the strongest predictors of adult opportunity. Yet disparities appear as early as elementary school. On the 2024 NAEP, only 16% of Black 4th graders scored proficient in reading, compared to 39% of white students. In math, 10% of Black 8th graders reached proficiency versus 37% of white students. In 2022, 81% of Black students graduated high school on time, compared to 90% of white students. And among ACT test takers, white students were 5 times more likely to be college-ready in all 4 subjects. Family stability and early development. Stable home life shapes every other domain of youth success. In 2020, 69% of Black births were to unmarried mothers, compared to 22% among white mothers. In 2023, half of Black children live with a single parent, versus 1 in 5 white children. And 25% of Black children live in poverty, compared to 8% of white children. Why prevention matters. Black youth face a higher likelihood of lower well-being in adulthood, not because of individual failure, but because of systemic inequities that start early and compound over time. Remediation, try to fix the problem after it happens, seldom works. It's far better to prevent these inequities from taking root. Keeping a youth out of jail is better than designing reentry programs. Helping a child read proficiently by third grade is better than costly remediation that rarely succeeds. Two powerful predictors of struggle are poverty and education. And poverty brings with it higher stress, trauma, housing instability, and reduced access to opportunity. So the real question is, how do we support families, especially those in poverty, so more youth are on the pathway to success rather than the pathway to struggle? The path forward. Families are the foundation. Communities must work together, schools, churches, nonprofits, and policymakers, to build a coordinated web of support around families and children. Every child deserves 1. A stable and supportive home life. 2. Basic needs met. 3. Strong early childhood interactions that prepare them for kindergarten. 4. A growth mindset and strong social-emotional skills. 5. Cognitive skills that build learning confidence. 6. Reading proficiency by third grade. 7. Consistent grade-level performance through school. 8. High school graduation on time, ready for college or career. 9. Freedom from justice system involvement. 10. Civic awareness and participation. 11. A strong connection to their cultural history and identity. This is a vision, not just for Black youth, but for all youth. But achieving equity means addressing the barriers that uniquely impact Black families and communities. If prevention is better than remediation, then now is the time to invest. In families, in early childhood, in schools, and in community networks that give every child a fair chance at a thriving life. Because the future of our youth is the future of our nation.